worshiper in me. I love this. Listen. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, and the worshiper is in me. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, and the worshiper is in me.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me,
And the worshiper,
is in me.
the Spirit of the Lord
Is upon me,
and the worshiper is in me, Lord. The Spirit of the Lord
is upon me,
and the worshiper is in me. The Spirit of the Lord is
upon me.
It is the worshipers in me. All the things everything look into my heart. There is a worshiper in me. If you look into my heart, there is a worshiper in me. If you look into my heart, there's a worshiper in me. There's a worshiper in me. I love to worship. Yeah.
I love to worship.
I love to worship.
Love to worship. I love to worship.
I love to worship.
I love to worship.
I love to worship.
I love to worship.
I love to lift my hand
To worship.
to praise your name.
Love to worship. You
I love you, 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 I love you.
I love to worship. You love to worship.
If you really love the worship, lift those hands right now. This is a good place. Come on, celebrate it. If you really love the worship, come on, begin to bless him. Come on, give him the fruit of your lips right now. Come on. Everybody in this place, come on, stretch your hands before your God. Just celebrate him. Come on. Tell him how much you love him. Tell him how much you care. Tell him how great he is in your life. Come on, just love on the Lord. I'm talking about your Savior.
On this icy road, not sure which way to go. I've been slipping into sin, and now my past is my beginning. Like a rodeo, up and down with my decisions. I fell out of commitment this time. Now it's time to rebuild your position, rebuild your faith, rebuild your relationship, and be thankful for His grace. A broken heart needs healing, right? And everything dark till you give it light. There's a lot of things weak till you give it fight. And we all blind in the world till we give a sight. And commitment is what you need to show up. And Jesus is the one that'll set you free. So hold up, you telling me you stuck with the memories of the lost. See, I ain't saying forget, just lay it all at the cross. And so what, you in the struggle? You fall in love with the world that don't love you. Why not fall in love with a God that's gonna show you what's right and think nothing but the best of you, Now you can rebuild with a real win. And tell the whole world how he killed sin. And tell them how Jesus came and filled in your body with the Holy Spirit to rebuild, man. Yeah. Not sure which way to go. I've been slipping into sin, and now my past is my beginning. Like a rodeo, up and down with my decisions. I fell out of commitment this time. Now it's time to rebuild your position, rebuild your faith, rebuild your relationship, and be thankful for His grace. Rebuild your brother, rebuild your sister, rebuild everything that God has given us to make us winners. See, confusion is of the enemy. So confusion is not a friend of me. I'm rebuilding with God right in front of me. Good faith and love is where I wanna be. And you can choose the same too. Cause rebuilding is something everybody going through. See, rebuilding is something everybody will do. Cause rebuilding is how the Holy Spirit feels.
Gospel 88.7 WEHA. It's more than music. It's ministry.
WEHA, Port Republic, Atlantic City. And now on FM translator 100.3 W262CF, Atlantic City. The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily those of WEHA, Gospel 88.7 and 100.3 FM. We Have Gospel, Spread the Gospel Inc., or any of its sponsors. WEHA is a listener-supported radio station. To make a donation, call 609-641-8870. Visit our headquarters at 3 Canal Drive, Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, 08234. Or log on to our website, wehavegospel.com.
We have gospel.
If you just tuned in, you're listening to In the Community with Dr. Thelma Witherspoon right here on your favorite gospel radio station, 2-time Stellar Award-winning radio station, WEHA 88.7, 100.3 FM. We have gospel. This broadcast has been brought to you by the Hawks Family Businesses, who have been serving our community for over 30 years, and Beacon Hall, turning moments into memories. And Lukila Bell and Christopher Bell, we want to thank you for sponsoring In the Community with Dr. Thelma and Lady Parrish on today. It's a beautiful day outside, and we hope that you're out there enjoying the sunshine. I want to first come on to say my condolences are to the families that have lost someone during this season. A friend of mine, Sharon Kelly Calloway, passed away on yesterday, and she was a phenomenal woman. She worked for the county for many years, and in addition to that, she came on our show In the Community, and she was the local chapter president for Mothers in Charge, and she done that for many years. She had a tragedy in her family, and she lost a son through gun violence, and she turned that tragedy and that pain into something positive. And she would go along with her, the members in that group, and comfort other mothers who had lost children to gun violence. She certainly will be sorely missed. And my condolences are with the Kelly and Calloway family. I have a few announcements. This is a good show today, and we want you to tell someone to tune in the community with Dr. Thelma and my co-host, Lady Parrish. Today we're going to be talking about grief, grieving, and bereavement. All right? So it's a good show on today. There's a few things that I would like to keep my listening audience informed to. There's a request for free home internet hotspots for the fall 2020. The deadline to apply for this is July 26th, which is coming up on next week. The state Department of Education is funding a free mobile hold on. They're funding a free mobile app for those who are a free mobile app for hotspots for the 2020 semester for qualifying students. Only one hotspot per address is allowable. Since only one hotspot will be provided per household, only one child needs to be registered. However, please list the names of the children living in the home. Eligibility for a hotspot is as follows. All right, so I put this on my thing. I'm not really sure. I gotta check this information out just because this is for the Clarion School District, and I thought this was actually for everyone, but I'm going to look more into that particular announcement. However, the Back to School Committee special, there will be the Road Back to School Committee special meeting scheduled for Tuesday, July 28th will be held virtually at 6 o'clock p.m. The live broadcast meeting will be accessible on the district homepage, and this is for Egg Harbor Township Schools. So you can go to the webpage, eht.k12.nj.us #EHT Pride. All right, go make sure that you log into the EHT NJ for schools, and they're going to give you the road back to school. So that's going to be very important, especially if you live in Egg Harbor Township. All right, we want to make sure that that's going on. Also, I have a couple other announcements here that I wanted to make sure that the listening audience really knew about. There's going to be a food distribution on the 31st of July, and that's going to be sponsored by Faith Baptist Church. Reverend Dr. Milton Hendricks is the pastor. It will be a drive-through food giveaway, and that will be on Friday, on July 31st, 2020 at 10 a.m. in the Faith Baptist Church parking lot, 829 Tilton Road, Pleasantville, New Jersey. All right, so they're going to be practicing social distancing, and please wear a face mask. You're going to remain in your vehicles, and you're not going to get out, and you're just going to drive by, pop your trunk. They're going to put the food in, and you're going to keep moving. Also, on the 31st, there will be Sheriff Eric Scheffler Community Care Initiative, and there will be a curbside diaper distribution. This will be on Friday, July 31st at 12 o'clock p.m. You can call 609-385-6570, or you can email inlandfsc@gmail.com to register for this distribution. Please remember to wear a mask and follow social distancing guidelines. This is going to be held at the Inland Family Success Center, 3050 Spruce Avenue in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. So if you know anyone that is in need of diapers, make sure that you are there to receive. Make sure you register, or make sure they register so they can receive the diapers. I'm really thankful for everyone who are trying to help people any way that they can, and they're coming with all types of initiatives to make sure that the community is being helped during this pandemic. All right, there's something else I want to bring to my listening audience's attention. The FDA, which is the Food, Drug, and Administration, has updates on hand sanitizers. Some of the hand sanitizers have methanol in it, which is a dangerous subject, dangerous product. And I want you to go to the FDA.gov and go to the update on FDA updates on hand sanitizers. Because sometimes people think because they're using a hand sanitizer, it's good. Soap and water has been deemed the most efficient and effective way of cleaning and washing your hands. So if you have hand sanitizers, it doesn't mean that they are effective, okay? And so you want to go to that website, you want to look it up, and make that, again, that's fda.gov, updates on hand sanitizers, so you would know which ones have methanol in it, all right? That's a dangerous substance, all right? And we don't want the children or anybody using this, and certainly not drinking this. It could be very dangerous. I know no one drinks hand sanitizer, but I just wanted to put that out there on today with something that I found out for my listening audience, to make sure that my listening audience was well aware of that. So check your hand sanitizers out, or go to the website, look at it to make sure that there's something that you should be using in your home or have in your pocketbook. Otherwise, I'm going to go buy me a case and just put a bar of soap in it and just walk around with it. And when I need to wash my hands, I'm going to pull out my soap and wash my hands. So that is the most effective way. There are a lot of people who do not want to wear masks. Masks are still something that we all should be wearing, and practicing social distancing so that we can remain safe during this pandemic. And there's just certain things that we can do to help us stay safe. And I think that we should do it. I think most people are doing things like that and things of that nature. They are doing things. Now, I do have another announcement. There are sometimes people are struggling with depression and things of that nature. And there is some help out there. You are not alone. You're not alone if you're going through some situations. There are a lot of telehealth, mental health things that are out there that you can contact. There's a lot of information that you can receive. And I'm trying to get to this website here to make sure that you can still get help. You can still get help. So Better Care, hashtag Mental Health Matters, hashtag Online Health, hashtag Telehealth, hashtag Mental Health, hashtag Take Care of Yourself, hashtag Stay Healthy. Stay healthy. So you can visit at better_care_America to find out how you can better take care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of no one else. And we have to be mentally healthy in order to help someone else. All right. A lot of people are asking right now, what is the election going to be like coming up on November the 3rd? We don't know what the governor is going to say yet, whether it's going to be a combination of machines, mail-in ballots, whether it's going to be mail-in ballots. But as soon as I get that information, I will make sure that my listening audience is fully aware of the process and what will be going on November the 3rd. If you're not registered, if you moved, if you changed your address, you got married, changed your name, whatever, this is the time for you to make those corrections so you won't have any issues during the general election, which will be on November the 3rd. All right, so I think that's very important. You can go to the Atlantic County Clerks.org. They have a website, and you can click on elections, go down and click on register to vote, and they'll fill out a form. You can fill out a form, sign it, mail it in, and you can register or make whatever changes that you need to make. I would suggest that you do not wait till the last minute so you won't have a lot of issues at the last minute. All right, so again, we have a good show on today. We are praying for everyone who has lost people. Everyone has not passed from COVID-19. Some have been sick or some have died suddenly, and it's been hard. It's been hard. But hopefully today's show will help you or people that you know to get through it, what you're going through. Grieving is a healthy part of when someone passes away. It's a very, very healthy part. So we really of getting to healing. You know, some people don't grieve, and when they don't grieve, then there's all kind of problems. You know, so it's all right to grieve. It's all right to cry when you lost a loved one. When you love somebody, you can cry. Some people say, don't cry. You know, you're supposed to cry. God created tears, you know, and he created tears so we can cry if totally necessary. So there's nothing wrong with crying. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you a weak individual. It's just that you love your loved one. My first guest is calling in now, and I'm excited about this first guest. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is my first guest, Christina Stanley. Thank you for being a part of our show in the community with Dr. Thelma and First Lady Parrish.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. I'm so proud of you. You're doing great things. You are originally from our area, from Atlantic City, and you are living in North Carolina now, but you're doing great things. And I was on Facebook and saw that your father had posted the release of your new book, Remember Me in Heaven, helping children go from sorrow to joy. And I thought it would just be so nice for you to call in on the show today, and I'm so glad that you did. I just want you to tell my listening audience a little something about yourself.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you, Dr. Witherspoon and First Lady Parrish, for having me on today. As you stated, my name is Christina Stanley, and I am originally from Atlantic City, New Jersey. I am an educator currently in North Carolina, and this is my second book, but this is my first children's book. I wrote the book, Remember Me in Heaven, helping children go from sorrow to joy, as a way to help children processing grief.
And what made you write this book?
My grandmother passed in August of 2019, and I wanted a way for her grandchildren and great-grandchildren just to remember some of the things that she did with them, but I also wanted to help other children with processing grief and also remembering their loved one in a healthy manner and in a joyous manner.
Oh, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. So you just released your book on the 20th, I believe?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can tell I've been following you, right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. So how do you help children go through this process? I know you wrote the
I
book.
will be. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, how do you help children go through this process?
I will be. I'm currently in the process of getting my business, Joy Up Services, where I will be helping children through webinars and one-on-one conversations with getting through the process. I have a workbook coming out to help children process through their emotions, whether it's discussing it, writing it down, or talking about it, and also just talking with them about what they're feeling and how they're feeling, and just being a support for them as they process through a lot of the emotions that children have to take in bites. As adults, we're able to process things a little bit more, but children, can't process, especially grief. They can't process it all at once, so they need just bits and pieces to process it in.
I think that this is a great idea because a lot of times children, we miss the fact that children grieve too. That we're so busy, as adults, we forget about the children and what they're actually going through as well. So this was a great idea for you to write a book on this to help children during this difficult times, because there have been young parents or even grandparents, as you said, who have passed away. I think it's healthy. Now, you tell me what you think. I think it's healthy to tell the children that the people have passed away and not make them think that they're going somewhere, because the kids are still looking for them.
I agree that it's healthy to tell them that they have someone that they love, especially if they were close to them, or like you said, a grandmother or a grandfather, or someone that a loved one, or even a friend, telling them that they passed away, because it can be difficult to try to explain to them what happened. But I think it's healthier for them to know that they have passed away versus they have just gone somewhere, and then the children may be expecting them to return.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's more healthier. It may be more difficult to do, but I think that's the best way to do it, just to be honest.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, my grandchildren went to a funeral with a lady that they considered their grandmother, and when they saw her, they didn't really understand at the graveyard, but they understood that she had passed away. But I felt like it brought closure to the older two knew, but the younger two really didn't understand the process.
Correct.
But actually being there at the gravesite brought some type of closure for the children, because sometimes parents don't bring their kids to the funeral or grandkids, or don't take them to the gravesite, so they really can't process it because they haven't seen anything. Do you think it's a great idea for kids to go or not go? I guess it's a parental decision, but to...
Yes, I believe it's a parental decision, but also I believe, like you said, it could be closure for the children, and also just to be able to talk about what happened with their loved one. And again, that could be a difficult process, and that's why I wanted to create a service where I could be just a support for parents and children as well, just to be able to talk about, again, how they're feeling and processing their emotions, because they may not know why they are feeling a certain way. They just know that they may be sad or angry because their loved one is no longer with them, and they're not processing the gravity of what happened.
Absolutely. Do you think also that there should be some type of grief counseling for children, as well as, I'm sure we're going to have an adult portion in a few minutes, but for children, should there be any type of grief counseling?
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely agree, again, that there should be counseling, because, again, it's, especially with children, I don't believe that it's talked about a lot with the children, as far as how they're processing their emotions and what they may be going through, what they may be dealing with, any grief triggers they may be experiencing, which I from experience learned that can come on from something as small as a smell to something that they see, and then this burst of emotions can all of a sudden come upon them, and they're not sure what it is or how to deal with it. They just have this emotion that comes on suddenly, and I definitely believe that having going to counseling or having a support person can definitely help them be able to just process through that and just to understand what they're feeling and what they're going through.
Absolutely, absolutely. My father's father passed when he was 11 years old, and they didn't have anything back then, in the 30s or early 40s of that nature, to really help them process this. All they knew was that their dad had passed away.
Yeah.
So there was really no one there. He ended up and his brothers and sisters ended up in an orphanage. So then that was another separation, from their mom. It was a good thing for them to go, but there was no one there in the process to tell them, this is why you're going. They were just snatched up and taken from their mother. So imagine you losing your father that's in the home, and then a year later, you're in an orphanage.
Oh,
yeah, with that shaped his life, but there was nobody there to help process it. You know what I'm saying? Help them process what they were going through. And so I really think that it's very important. It's important that you do have people there to help you, that you talk to the children. You just don't make decisions and don't say anything.
No, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
It's definitely important to talk with them or even to have them talk to someone else. But I also think it's important as a family to talk about it as well.
I agree. Now you have information. How can people contact you, Christina?
So I can be found on Facebook and Instagram at author Christina Stanley. And also, people can reach out to me via email at Christina Stanley, M as in Mary, @gmail.com. And Christina is spelled with a CH.
And they can reach out to you. And you can give them other resources or things that you can help them with while their children are going through this process.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, how can people get the book?
The book can be found on Amazon.com, and the title, Remember Me in Heaven, Helping Children Go from Sorrow from Joy.
Remember Me in Heaven, Helping Children Go from Sorrow to Joy. What would you like to leave with my listening audience for someone who is out there listening, who have children? Because some people had to take the children. Sometimes the parents can't take the children or grandparents can't take the children. The kids end up in foster home. What would you say to someone who has small children who are dealing with this?
That children, especially during the early stages of development, children go by, and again, this is as an educator, children go by how you make them feel. So how they are, if they are comfortable with you, if they feel like they can open up, if they feel like they can talk, if you show them that love and you show them that you're interested in what they're going through and their feelings and really want to learn about them, they're more apt to be able to open up about what they're feeling and about what they're going through. And also just to, especially as a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or uncle or family member, just to be able to talk with them or letting them know that it's okay to express their feelings, and it's okay if they need to talk to someone outside of a parent or a guardian to be able to process their feelings, because I think going to a counselor is deemed as something maybe wrong with you, but it's actually helpful to be able to talk to someone, whether it be a counselor or a support system or a support person, to be able to talk with someone and just to understand what they're going through. And sometimes children may not be able to express it verbally, but can express it through drawings or through illustrations, more so depending on the age. And just know that they are humans too, even though they're children and they're small. They're still processing things, and it may not be to the degree that adults process it, but they still are processing. And like you said, it can shape how they grow up, and then how they view their view in life, and their view with for instance, with grief or with someone passing. It can shape their view on that as they grow.
I want to thank you so much for calling in on the show today. I wish you much success with your book. You're welcome. With your book, Remember Me in Heaven. So if you're out there, we want you. You're welcome, Christina Stanley. I remember you as a young child. I'm very proud of you and what you have become as an adult, and the things that you're doing. And I wish you much success. And continue to do what you're doing. You're welcome. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That was Christina Stanley. That was her. That was Christina Stanley calling in. And we're very happy about her and her success and what she's doing. It was a great idea for her to come up with a book to help children during their grief. So if you're out there, go to Amazon.com and just purchase that book from Christina Stanley. All right, we're getting ready for a break. Let's see here. Yeah, we're getting ready for a break, so we want you to stay tuned to In the Community with Dr. Thelma and First Lady Parrish. All right? We want to help you. If you have questions, make sure that you're sending them to Lady Parrish so they can be addressed in the second segment of our broadcast on this morning. We'll keep it locked. You're right here at WEHA 88.7, 100.3 FM. We have gospel.
Kelsey and Kim's is now open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Takeout only, 609-350-6890. Pickups only, delivery service coming soon. Address 201 Melrose Avenue, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Kelsey and Kim's is now open for takeout, the best Southern cuisine. The second best thing about driving home is listening to WEHA. The best thing is getting there. And that's why I'm glad when I finally get home, I can listen to WEHA on my computer. It's easy. All you have to do is go to wehavegospel.com. Not only can I hear the station, I can also see what's playing at the time, as well as what is already played before. You know, sometimes I'll hear a song on the radio and I want to know the name of the song and where I can get it from, you know. And when I need to go to another website, I can always use the pop-out player to keep WEHA playing in the background while I browse the web. They make it so easy for me at wehavegospel.com. You got to check it out.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Tell the world I see with an emoji to stop the bullies.
Know someone who's being bullied online? Send the witness emoji. It looks like an eye in a speech bubble, and it's in the symbol section near the clocks in your phone. You'll let the world know it isn't cool, and you'll let your friend know you care. Learn more about the witness emoji at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad
Do you have an
Council.
event coming up and need a facility? Well, let me tell you about Atlantic County's newest banquet facility, Beacon Hall, located in the heart of Egg Harbor City, right off the White Horse Pike. Beacon Hall is a full-service banquet facility that is 5,000 square feet with an attached parking lot. Book your conferences, book signings, birthday parties, bridal showers, baby showers, weddings, repasts. No event is too big or too small. You can book your next event by calling us at 609-965-4255 or email us at bookbeaconhall@gmail.com. That's BOOKBEACONHALL @gmail.com. Try Beacon Hall, where we turn moments into cherished memories.
Juice, Mom! Juice, juice, juice!
Mommy, why are we going to the store?
Mom, I want juice!
Mom!
Juice, juice, juice!
Mom!
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the
Hello,
National
I'm
Highway
George
Traffic
C.
Safety
Hi,
Administration.
I'm
and the
Professor
Ad
J.
Council.
You know why I like listening to the gospel on the radio? It's easy. You turn it on, turn up the volume, and you have gospel.
Listening in the car is cool, I guess, but I'm more into listening from my computer. I just type in the website, and I have gospel.
So whether you listen to gospel on the radio, on 88.7 FM, WEHA,
or on your computer on www.wehavegospel.com.
We have gospel.
So check out our new website, wehavegospel.com.
Hey, this is Pastor Willie.
And Susan Corngut.
We want to make sure you tune in every Tuesday at 5:30 for the best show in the world.
With me and Pastor Willie, a.k.a. Dr. Love.
Side Pieces, WEHA. Check us out.
If you just tune in, you listen to In the Community with Dr. Thelma Witherspoon and my co-host, First Lady Mary Parrish. Thank you for tuning in to the show today. This broadcast is being brought to you by the Hawks family businesses who have been serving our community for over 30 years, and Beacon Hall, turning moments into memories, and Lukila Bell and Christopher Bell. So thank you so much for sponsoring In the Community with Dr. Thelma and First Lady Parrish, Mary Parrish. So we really appreciate that. Today's topic is something that we all experience in one time or another, but it's been very difficult, I would say, during this time, especially during the pandemic, to lose someone. The hospitals are doing a little better. And this is my second guest that's calling in. They're doing a little better. And you can visit, but there's only one designated person who can be at the hospital. It can't be multiple people, you know. And they do have visiting hours now, 11 to 1 and 5 to 7. Well, we have our next caller in, and my special guest. Our special guest is T. Danielle Bettis. She's a clinical social worker / therapist. Hello, T. Danielle Bettis.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
All right. Thank you so much for calling in on our show today to talk about a topic that is much needed, especially right now. Before we go any further, though, I would like for you to say just a little something about yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tanoa Bettis. My name is on Facebook that way just for confidentiality, because sometimes I have clients that try to find me on Facebook, and I try to keep all of that separate at times. However, I am a licensed clinical social worker here from Jersey. I work for a major hospital system, and I'm also in private practice. I am nationally certified in trauma treatment, trauma-informed and focused treatment. I am a member of New Mount Calvary Baptist Church in Mays Landing, so I have to shout out my church.
Absolutely.
I'm just happy to be here this morning. I have a lot of people that introduced me to other people, so I'm glad that someone mentioned my name, and I'm able to be here today.
Well, thank you so very much. Our topic today is on grief and grieving and bereavement, and we want to like for you to give some tips to our listening audience. I want to say that I know sometimes people do not grieve. I shouldn't say they don't grieve. They don't process the grief process. I've seen where they haven't like it hasn't bothered them, and then maybe a year later they're acting out. So we want to talk about the grieving process and how healthy it is for an individual to go through it.
Yes. I do want to just stop 1 minute and make reference to something that you said. You said about processing. Processing is different for everyone. And process, like an incident where someone needs to grieve anything, whether it be loss of job, loss of family, loss of friend, loss of relationship, everyone processes that differently because everyone goes through the developmental stages differently. I guess within our community, we've had so much happening back to back, with the coronavirus, and then, the having to be quarantined and people not being able to be in settings and social settings that have kind of provided some sense of comfort for them. You also stated about some people just, you said not can't, but some people just are not ready to enter into the grief process. So I think for everyone, it's an individualized process, and people do struggle with it because sometimes it just seems like it's easier not to grieve than to address it. The only ramification of it is that it leads to other deficits. It could be physical, mental, emotional, social health. So sometimes people will withdraw, but sometimes people will avoid and enter into stages of avoidance. Mm-hmm. And what happens is they suppress. And when you suppress, that's where you start to see a lot of negative effects of grief manifest themselves.
All right. Well, thank you for that. So tell us, what is everybody processes it differently. So what are some of the things that you suggest that people could do that could help themselves? Because sometimes when you know that you have a loved one that is sick, although you know that they may be passing away, you're halfway like preparing yourself, although it's still not the same until they pass away. And then there are other people, they die suddenly, and they wasn't sick, it just happened out of nowhere, whether it was a car accident or something medical, and it was just sudden. What would you suggest that people could do to help them during this time?
So I think that, again, you said something very important, depending on the circumstances surrounding the death.
Right.
I don't think that anyone is ever prepared to grieve, but I think that when you have some form of prefacing and some preparation, that this loss was going to occur, I think that provides some sense of comfort, but not much. And in situations where there's sudden death, there's no preparation. I think that the biggest thing is that people have to allow people the time to prepare to grieve. I think that when we try to expedite people into the process, I think that we cause more damage that way, even as clinicians. One thing I always say is that we have to make sure that people are ready and meet people where they are in their processes, and that's either with anticipated loss or unanticipated loss. I think that you have to allow people the time to say, I'm ready to do this. And I think that if you're the griever yourself, I think that you yourself have to come to a place where you're ready and not allow anyone to rush or expedite that process for you, because you can do more damage at that time. I think that we have to come to a place of acceptance before we enter into a place of treatment. So acceptance is very important, because sometimes it leaves us with a numbness that we can't explain. So at that time, I encourage people to, write down memories about that person, write down their feelings, be very expressive within themselves before they feel the need to grieve for other people and enter into that process for others. I think it has to be an internalized process first.
I really like that because a lot of times it's so unbelievable that you have not accepted the fact that the person has passed away.
Yes, yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
there's, I guess I never thought about it like that. There has to be time for an individual to accept the fact that my loved one has passed away.
Yes. Absolutely.
So to write down things or do things, I guess whatever you need to do to think about that person until you accept it. Now, if the person goes a long length of time and they haven't accepted it, then what?
So at that point, if you start, I guess it would be important for either the griever or the people that surround them to start, really paying attention to how they're navigating through the process. If you start seeing like decompensation in health and they're not eating or they're withdrawn or they're going into a state of depression, things like that, that's when it's good to reach out and say, hey, let's get some help. Let me help you through this. I think that, and there is no time frame for grief. There's no time frame in the amount of time that someone should start grieving or that they should continue to grieve. There is no time frame for a grief process. And I think that sometimes people say, well, it's time for you to get past this. There is no time frame. You cannot tell someone to get past something that has become a process for them and that may be a lifelong process for them.
Yeah, that's a good thing because, you do have people, I think they're well-meaning, but just don't know what to say, tell you to get over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can you get over something like that?
Yeah, that statement can do so much damage. And I think that sometimes, especially if that person is connected to the grief, I think that sometimes that's their part of the process is saying, I'm going to suppress this. It's time to move on. I'm going to get over this. I'm going to, just act like it didn't happen. And I think that within itself, that behavior within itself is part of the grief process. It's just not, the most healthiest part of the process. But it is a part of the process nonetheless.
Absolutely. Someone suggested that writing a letter to the loved one who passed away.
Yes, writing down letters, writing memoirs, planting maybe a flower outside your house, or some type like memorializing that person in a way that keeps them alive to you. It is a way to until you're ready to verbalize and express that grief. Sometimes doing gestures such as those I just named can be very productive as well.
Absolutely. I knew someone, April Kaufman, who passed away, and they went to a park and got a bench with her name on it.
Yes.
And had that as a memorial for her. And I thought, and everyone can't do that, but everyone can write a letter. Or do something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very good. Mm-hmm. Now, we deal with a lot. You are a member of Mount Calvary, and I'm in church, although this is a community show. You have a lot of people would say things like, well, you believe in God, and you know where the person went, so don't cry, and why are you crying, about your loved one? I think that's terrible to say to someone, but people do say it. What would you suggest?
I had this conversation with someone else before because being a mental health professional, I'm not a Christian counselor, but I'm a spiritual person, so sometimes the two intertwine. And some of my clients are more comfortable with that than others. But I always say that, in the Bible it says Jesus wept, We cry. We're human. We're human beings. So sometimes we do have to separate the two and allow both processes to happen. I see lately, I've seen so many people within the church community suffer huge loss.
Right.
And there have been tears, and there have been memorials, and there has been crying. So allow that process to happen. I think that sometimes people, just like you stated earlier, just don't know what to say. So, they feel like, okay, if I can give them some type of biblical framework, then that will comfort. But we're still human beings, and we have to go through the processes. And neither one, like I said, has a time frame, and neither one, there's no specific order in how they should come. You have to kind of conceptualize it for yourself. And I do think that people are trying to provide comfort, but unfortunately, sometimes people forget that even though we are, within the spiritual framework, we still have to address and acknowledge our human side.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been very also difficult during COVID-19 to lose a loved one and not be able to give them the celebration of life that you want to give them. Because at one point, you could only have 10. Or, there's a limited amount at a funeral. You may have a large family, but at one point, only 10 people could show up. What would you say to someone that was like that, dealing with that?
I honestly feel that the restrictions that were placed on grieving families during COVID-19 was a re-traumatization of the loss that they just suffered. I know that there had to be stipulations put in place to protect people. However, when I was seeing incidents like this, I was saying to myself, how traumatizing is that to not be able to say goodbye to your loved one and then not be able to funeralize them in a way that you would see fit for them. So within that, I would also say that, when it is time to start that grieving process, to incorporate the feelings, whether they're anger, disappointment, whatever the feeling is, to incorporate that into their grieving process and accept that it's part of their trauma.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I know that when COVID-19 first came out, you couldn't go in the hospital with your grieving loved one. So your loved one was getting ready to pass away, and you had to look at them on the telephone or through a tablet or iPad.
Yeah.
That was harsh. Now the Governor Phil Murphy here in New Jersey has signed an executive order that you could have at least one person that's designated to go into the hospital. And I think that's a good idea because before there was no visitation at all, and that was very traumatizing for many people that I've talked to go through that. But now the hospital, especially AtlantiCare, I didn't get a chance to take them to Shore Memorial. They have visiting hours from 11 to 1 and from 5 to 7. But before there was nothing, absolutely nothing. And it was people are still not over that they was not properly able to say goodbye to their loved one. That the next time that they see them, they are actually in a casket.
Yes, it's very traumatizing events. I just think that, like I said, those feelings and that come with that need to also be processed and become a part of the process, the grief process, and not outside of it. Because that within itself, going through a global pandemic, losing a loved one, dealing with grief and loss, dealing with disappointment, dealing with financial and economic burdens that come with grief and loss, dealing with being out of work and quarantined, I think that it all has to become one. It's not separate. And I think that when people are trying to support those that are grieving and going through those type of circumstances, that they also have to be mindful that these are external factors, but they're all included in that one trauma. So I think that just being supportive and having an understanding for those people that are going through these circumstances is very important, very important.
Absolutely. I think that understanding, it was a great, to know that's a great point. Because if they can only have 25 or 50 now, before it was 10, then don't give the family a hard time that you're trying to be a part of a limited number. You got to respect, the family. You have to respect them no matter how close you were. You still have to respect people and give them their space.
Yes. And I also think that sometimes, if you do see someone who is, not being as supportive or, dealing with some strong feelings during that time, that's part of their process.
Okay.
Like you said, people are well-meaning, but, when you have situations of grief and loss, everyone is going to handle it differently and express themselves differently. You have the controller, you have the minimizer, you have the over-exerted person, the over-verbalizer. So you have these different roles within the family, especially within, the minority population.
African American, you can say it.
The family roles come into play, and people, don't understand that, this is not a time to exercise control. This is a time to be supportive, and this is a time to acknowledge everyone else's feelings and to kind of say, when things calm down, then maybe we can enter into this grief process together or individually, whatever's best for each person.
I think that is really, really a great statement and great advice. This is not time for you to exert your feelings. And I don't want to say that you don't care, because you do, But you said, this is my mother. I mean, how are you coming in here telling me, I understand you the sister, or I understand you're the brother, but this is my mother, or this is my son, or this is my husband. Give me my space. Give me my space.
Yes, and those strong feelings and behaviors are also part of the grief process.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is great advice that you're giving to our listening audience on today. Are there any, in the African American community or minority community, we're getting better in counseling, but for years that was taboo. We didn't go to counseling. What would you suggest to someone who was going through a difficult time about counseling?
I would say that it's time to put those thoughts and ideals behind us. As you can see, the African American community is becoming extremely inundated with incidents of racial trauma, financial, economic trauma, academic trauma, medical trauma. The traumas are starting to just become overwhelming for us. So I would say that you have to enter into a space that's best for you. And these spaces of healing and for therapeutic processes, there's no shame anymore. The only shame is not getting the help you need and then transferring these isms and these generational curses into the other generations to come. As an African American clinician, I find myself treating more and more African Americans and minorities every day, and I have to say that I'm happy that people are finally coming to a place where they're ready to do the work to heal, because we have to not only heal individually, but we have to heal collectively.
That's true.
So some people say, well, I'm only comfortable with an African American therapist, and I say, great, if that's accessible to you, if that's there for you. If it's not, then you can consult with the African American therapist, and they will be able to refer you to therapists that are not of color, but that are cultural, that practice in cultural humility and cultural sensitivity. So I always say that the only mistake you can make is not looking for help. Get the help that you need. It's out there for you, and get it. And if you can't find it individually, ask if there's groups. There are groups out there that you can go into the process in a group setting, which may be more comfortable for people. But, do not come to a place where you say, oh, these spaces are not out there for me, because these spaces are out there for you. And you have my contact information. I have a great network of licensed clinical therapists and psychotherapists that are out there to help and are out there to provide and continue to provide these healing spaces for our community.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you brought that up. I know that Gilda's Club has a grief portion, but I think that's just for cancer patients. I'm not really sure, but
No, it's for grief.
It's for grief.
They have some grief groups, and also you have the Alcove in Northfield, who also sponsors grief groups for people. And like I said, I do have some additional resources, because right now everything is virtual. So there are some grief groups that are being ran online that people can seek out help as well.
So, and how do they get that information?
I can provide you with some of that information. I'll try to provide you with at least one site right now that people have been able to get some grief counseling online.
Okay.
There is one. There a lot of online, but there's one that I wanted to look in particular. It's www.griefshare, GRIEFSHARE.org. Griefshare.org offers online grief and support groups.
I really appreciate that, to know that information. And how could people contact you if they want to contact you?
They can contact me if they're interested or just need some information. They can contact me by phone at 609-992-5712. I'm also on Facebook at Tanoa Bettis, LCSW on Facebook. And I also have a website. It's www.caring, connectionscounselingservices.com.
Okay, and there's that insurance based.
Insurance. Okay, so when we talk about insurance, I do take insurances, and a lot of my colleagues take insurances. A lot of my colleagues also offer a sliding scale fee. I also offer a sliding scale. So every case is individualized. So if they decide to go into counseling, there are some places within the area that do participate in some of the state health programs. There's Legacy. There's Center for Family Services. That's in Egg Harbor Township. There's Atlantic Care Behavior Health. But sometimes people want that private touch, that one-on-one. Mm-hmm. So please feel free to reach out to individualized therapists because a lot of us do offer sliding scale fees.
Well, I want to thank you so much to Noah Bettis for being a part of the show on today. We got about a minute. What would you leave with my listening audience?
I would say that the only mistake you make when not seeking help is not seeking help. Please reach out. Each one reach one. There's no shame in healing, and trauma is a normalized process. Don't hold it in. Process your trauma. Those spaces are out there for you, and we're here to help you.
I really appreciate that. So if you got to scream, scream. If you got to cry, cry. Get it out. Get some counseling. Write a letter. Whatever you need to do. Plant a flower. Whatever you need to do, do it so you can get through this process.
Just heal. That's all.
Just heal. Just heal. Thank you so much for being a part of our program on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Did you enjoy our program today? I know you did. Thanks for tuning in to In the Community with Dr. Thelma and First Lady Parrish, right here on WEHA 88.7, 100.3 FM. We have gospel.
Gospel 88.7